To outsiders, Belle Gunness might have looked like a lonely widow who lived in the American Midwest during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. But in reality, Belle Gunness was born on November 11, 1859, in Selbu, Norway. Little is known about her early life. But, for one reason or another, Gunness decided to emigrate from Selbu to Chicago in 1881. There, Gunness met her first known victim, her husband, Mads Sorensen, whom she married in 1884. Their life together seemed to be marked by tragedy. Gunness and Sorensen opened a candy store, but it soon burned down. They had 4 children together, but 2 allegedly died of acute colitis. Eerily, the symptoms of this disease were quite similar to poisoning. And in 19, their home burned down. But as was the case with the candy store, Gunness and Sorensen were able to pocket the insurance money. Then, on July 30, 1900, tragedy struck again. Sorensen died suddenly of a cerebral hemorrhage. Strangely, that date represented the last day of Sorensen's life insurance policy as well as the first day of his new policy. His widow, Gunness, collected on both policies $150,000 in today's dollars, which she could have only done on that day. But no one at the time chalked it up to anything but a tragic coincidence. Gunness claimed that Sorensen had come home with a headache, and she had given him quinine. The next thing she knew, her husband was dead. Belle Gunness left Chicago with her daughters Myrtle and Lucy, along with a foster daughter named Jenny Olson. Newly flush with cash, Gunness bought a 48-acre farm in LaPorte, Indiana. There, she set about starting her new life. And before long, in April 1902, she married Peter Gunness. I regularly make videos for the fans of scary stories. If you like these type of stories, please like and subscribe me for the next videos. Strangely, tragedy seemed to return to Belle Gunness' doorstep yet again. Peter's infant daughter from a previous relationship died. Then, Peter also died. Apparently, he had fallen victim to a sausage grinder that fell on his head from a wobbly shelf. The coroner described the incident as a little queer, but believed that it was an accident. Gunness dried her tears and collected her husband's life insurance policy. Only one person seemed to be catching on to Gunness' habits, her foster daughter Jenny Olson. "My mama killed my papa," Olson allegedly told her schoolmates. She hit him with a meat cleaver and he died. Don't tell a soul. Soon afterward, Olson vanished. Her foster mother initially claimed that she'd been sent to school in California, but years later, the girl's body would be found in Gunness' hog pen. Maybe Belle Gunness needed money, or maybe she had developed a taste for murder. Either way, the twice-widowed Gunness began posting personal ads in Norwegian-language newspapers to find a new companion. According to Harold Schechter, a true crime author who wrote Hell's Princess, The Mystery of Belle Gunness, Butcher of Men, Gunness knew exactly how to lure her victims onto her farm. She beguiled them with promises of down-home Norwegian cooking and painted a very seductive portrait of the kind of life they'd enjoy. But the men who came to her farm would not have a life to enjoy for very long. They arrived with thousands of dollars and then disappeared. Mrs. Gunness received men visitors all the time. One of her farmhands later told the New York Tribune. In 1906, Belle Gunness connected with her final victim. Andrew Helgelian found her ad in the Minneapolis Tidende, a Norwegian-language newspaper. Before long, Gunness and Helgelian began exchanging romantic letters. Helgelian, like other victims before him, decided to take a chance on love. He moved to LaPorte, Indiana on January 3, 1908 to be with Belle Gunness. So far, Belle Gunness had been able to largely escape detection or suspicion. But after Andrew Helgelian stopped answering letters, his brother Isle got worried and demanded answers. Gunness deflected. "You wish to know where your brother keeps himself?" Gunness wrote to Isles. "Well, this is just what I would like to know, but it almost seems impossible for me to give a definite answer." She suggested that maybe Andrew Helgelian had gone to Chicago or perhaps back to Norway. But Asel Helgelian didn't seem to be falling for it. Concurrently, Gunness had begun to develop problems with a farmhand named Ray Lamphere. He had romantic feelings for Gunness and resented all the men that showed up at her property. The two once apparently had a relationship, but Lamphere had left in a jealous rage after Helgelian arrived. On April 27, 1908, Belle Gunness went to see an attorney in La Porte. She told him that she had fired her jealous farmhand, Lamphere, which caused him to go mad. And Gunness also claimed that she needed to make a will because Lamphere had apparently threatened her life. "That man is out to get me," Gunness told the attorney. "I fear one of these nights he will burn my house to the ground." Gunness left her attorney's office. She then bought toys for her children and 2 gallons of kerosene. That night, someone set her farmhouse on fire. Authorities found the bodies of Gunness' 3 children in the charred rubble of the farmhouse basement. They also found the body of a headless woman who at first they assumed was Belle Gunness. Lamphere was quickly charged with murder and arson, and police began to search the farm grounds, hoping to find Gunness' head. Meanwhile, Al Helgelien had read about the fire in the newspaper. He showed up in hopes of finding his brother. For a while, Helgelien assisted police as they sorted through the rubble. Although he almost left, Helgelien became convinced that he couldn't do so without looking harder for Andrew. "I was not satisfied," Helgelien recalled, "and I went back to the cellar and asked one of Gunness' farmhands whether he knew of any hole or dirt having been dug up there about the place in spring." Hoping to find a clue related to his brother's disappearance, Helgelien and the farmhand began to dig up a pile of soft dirt in the hog pen. To their horror, they ended up finding Andrew Helgelien's head, hands, and feet, stuffed into an oozing gunny sack. Further digging yielded more grisly discoveries. In the span of 2 days, investigators found a total of 11 burlap sacks, which contained arms hacked from the shoulders down and masses of human bone wrapped in loose flesh that dripped like jelly. Authorities couldn't identify all the bodies, but they could identify Jenny Olsen Gunness' foster daughter who had left for California. And it soon became clear that Gunness was behind some horrific crimes.